Hello there, welcome to the show. I'm Adrian Healy in the highly refined company of one Mr. Stuart Robson, one Mr. Steve Nicol. You like that, don't you? We'll have Sid Lowe as well, raising the bar as well when he joins us a little later on to talk about all those comings and goings in Spain. Antoine Griezmann making all the headlines. But we have to start in the Championship in England, the playoffs. Under full flow, Villa made it to the final yesterday. Leeds and Derby battling to see who could join them. Leeds, remember, 1-up. Highly contested first leg a few days ago. Frank Lampard and Marcelo Bielsa exchanging pleasantries. It was Leeds who struck first. It was Stuart Dallas knocking in the rebound.
Yeah, good free kick, whipped him from that far side. He bends it into the space. Keogh doesn't defend it well, and it comes really nicely out to Stuart Dallas. And some of the Leeds fans were giving Lampard a bit of stick at this point.
Yes, well, they were 1-0 up, 2-0 up on aggregate, but it didn't last. A horrendous defensive moment for Leeds.
Well, in my opinion, Casillas the one that should have been in charge of this. Should have called the defender off. In the end, I'm sure he does nothing, and Marriott pretty much is an empty goal to slot at home, and disaster for Leeds.
Yeah, Jack Marriott making it 1 apiece on the night. Derby came out at the start of the second half and took control, didn't they? Mason Mount.
That's an interesting finish. He did really well. Just to look at the way, I think it's Keogh again that plays the ball in. Takes it back inside here and as he stumbles, he just lifts it over the goalkeeper who goes to ground a little bit too quickly. And that put Derby in front.
It's like one of your sand wedges there, Steve. Mason Mount involved, or Mason Bennett rather, as Liam Cooper brought him down.
Well, it's a ridiculous challenge from Cooper. I mean, what was he thinking about? He actually has a defender behind him there who's just going to sweep all the tip bits up. Gives the penalty away.
And Harry Wilson dispatched it, Stevie. So it was Derby very much in control at this stage, 3-1 up.
But it's the left-back, Dallas, getting forward, and he evens up the tie. He was just offside. No VAR, of course, but he bends it brilliantly into the far corner. Much to the delight of Bielsa.
So 3-2 on the night to Derby. At this point, it's going to extra time. Going to the dressing room early would be Berardi.
But it's just, I mean, what is he thinking about? Just ridiculous challenge. He's on a yellow, stay on your feet. And basically what he's done, he's sold his teammates down the river. That's what he's done there.
So then, just over 5 minutes to go. Derby on the attack. Marriott pouncing to score his second. And that was to prove to be the game winner.
Once again, it's Keogh, the centre-back, coming forward. He plays a lovely little lift over the goalkeeper, had an absolute shocker. And what a disappointment for those Leeds fans. Not so for Derby and Frank Lampard.
Scenes of unbridled joy for Derby and the coaching staff. 4-2, they turned it around. Marcelo Bielsa's Leeds United crash out despite having 22 shots on the night, 8 shots on goal. Derby had just the 5 shots on goal, but boy, didn't they make it count, putting 4 of them in. Derby through to meet Villa in that Wembley final. So, who saw this coming? I mean, after all the drama we've had in the Champions League and the Premier League, I guess it always had to be this way, didn't it?
Well, there was a lot of animosity between the two managers because of the Spygate previously in the season.
Yep.
The first game was a very fraught affair. Leeds got the better of Derby by the 1 goal. And having seen this game, it was played at an intense pace. There was hostility from both sets of fans, hostility amongst the players, as you saw with the send-ins off. But in the end, Derby with a more controlled side. And Leeds have been erratic for a long time this season.
Yeah, I think that's the key, particularly towards the end of the season. You know, I think 3 weeks ago, home to Wigan, 1-0 up, playing against 10 men, they got beat 2-1 at home. And from there, the wheels kind of fell off. And Derby County are a free-flowing, free-scoring team. They can score goals home or away. Leeds, well, showed the deficiencies, particularly defensively. And Derby deserved to go through.
With Frank Lampard at the helm, how do you rate the job he's done? Because Derby County have been close, haven't they, for many years to getting back to the promised line.
Earlier on in the season, when people were talking about him taking over the Chelsea job, I sort of put a bit of a dampener on that by saying Derby in the worst position they've been for something like 6 years.
Yeah.
Most of the managers got the sack at Derby when they were in the top 6 and the chairman thought they should be in the top 2. So Frank Lampard was given that little bit more leniency, but he's done well with a young side. They haven't had quite so much money to spend. The wage bill isn't quite so high. They've taken a lot of players on loan. and he's got the team playing some very good football, and it's a good performance today.
Leeds, Steve, in your two eras, they were a massive club. They're still a sleeping giant. They thought Bielsa was going to perhaps be the man to get them back. They're going to have to wait yet another year. Well,
at one stage, it seemed as though it was just a matter of time. They were flying high at the top of the league. Bielsa could do nothing wrong. And then, as I said earlier, the wheels kind of fell off second part of the season. I just wonder whether Bielsa is going to be around next year. Yeah. Had Leeds got up, I think absolutely he would have been. Now, this is a guy who kind of just from nowhere decides to up and go. And the fact of this disappointment in this game, I think he might do the same. And then Leeds are going to have to start again. So
it all leads to the game. Leeds, I say it. Leads to Wembley. £170 million game, they call it. Derby against Villa. It'll be actually Frank Lampard and John Terry's on the coaching staff at Aston Villa, so two old Chelsea teammates going
Don't forget Dean Smith, who came from Brentford to Aston Villa when they weren't doing particularly well. He's changed their fortunes. They play some good football. I think Aston Villa are the favourites going into this. They've had a great run to get into the top six. They did well against West Bromwich Albion over the two games. Just about did enough. This is going to be a good game, but I think Aston Villa will have a bit more nous and a bit more quality.
You see it that way,
I do.
Stevie?
I see the experience, yeah. I actually thought West Brom would have beaten Villa because of the experience they had. But no question, Villa has that. Derby, they don't have experience. In a game like this, you need some. They don't have any.
They're very rarely classics, aren't they? We're supposed to sell it because the final is on ESPN+, but so
We've had some classics, we've had some bad ones.
They have had some good ones.
Yeah, some good ones over the years.
Swindon, Leicester City, I draw your attention to.
You're a Swindon fan,
4-3.